Hi everyone and welcome to my sewing room. I know I say that every time I come on, and today obviously I'm in a different little part of my apartment. My sewing machine is back here, and we left the embroidery machine in the bedroom, but today we're actually going to go ahead and put our doll together, so don't go away. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put her legs on. And I have this wire, and no, I don't know what the gauge is. It's just a nice thick wire. And I cut them 15 inches long, and I cut 2 of them. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in here into her body. And I need a pair of scissors. Okay, I'm going to cut just a little hole on the other side of this, and then let's just do it this way. Let's take one wire, find the opening, and put that in there, and then let's find the other one. And it's not quite as long as I would normally make her legs, but I'm going to put some boots on her. So this is as long as I need these to be, and then we'll put some kind of fairy boots on her, I think is what I'm going to do. So then you're going to bend it down like this, and if you were making the witch that's in my witch class, you're going to put some boots on her then too. So now we have, look at that. Let me do this again. Move it down just a little bit. I want to make these as even as I possibly can. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to use some tape. And yes, this is pink embroidery tape, and it costs more than just plain old boring masking tape that you buy at the hardware store, but you can just use plain old boring masking tape. I just didn't have any. I don't know what I did with it when I moved. But I'm just going to take it and tape it. And the 2 reasons why I do this is, one is because it holds them together really well, and 2, it gives a little bit of non-slip for the batting to stick to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover these in pink tape. Okay, now I've got the pink tape on there. I have these long, really long strips of batting that I've cut from scraps that I have, and I usually just start like right here. I'm going to open this up just a little bit, and I'm going to just start wrapping, kind of like when you wrap a bandage. Pull really tight. We don't want her legs to be soft and squishy. We want them to be nice and tight. I don't honestly know how to speed up the videotaping or anything like that, so I don't do that kind of filming. But anyway, so we're going to take this, and then I'm going to flip it around, and then I'm going to come back up the other way, and I'm going to work my way up the other side. It's hard to do this and keep it on the camera at the same time because I'm flipping it around as I go. We're just going to keep wrapping it. And then when I get back up here to the top of her body, she's flipping all over the place here. Usually what I do is I take it, let's bend it back the way it's supposed to be. I go up this way between her legs and then up this way. And then kind of around her waist a little bit here. And that kind of pulls her bottom part in a little bit more. And at the same time, gets the shape I want with the legs, because I don't want them to be all floppy all over the place. I want them to be part of her body. So then I'm going to go down this way. Let me see if I can get this where I want it to be. Let's see. I'm going to go this way and up and under and over this way. And I'm going to pull it really tight. And then down and under and over this way. And then when I get to the end of one of these long strips of batting like this, I just take the next piece and I wrap it and I start the next piece over on top of the last one. And I keep working up and down the legs, shaping as I go. So what I mean by that is, so this is her ankle, so that's going to be thinner, right? So I might not go all the way down that far the next time I wrap around, but this is her calf, and her calf has to be a little thicker. So let's make those come a little closer together. And this is approximately where her knee is going to be, right here. So let's just kind of go around a little bit more right there, and then I'm going to keep going up to the top. Keep pulling it tight. Don't let it get soft and squishy. Okay, now I'm back up here again, so let's go. I'm going to pull really tight this way. Feel like I'm making a mummy, doesn't it? Just kind of wrapping and wrapping and wrapping. But eventually, as you do that, you're going to end up with some thighs here. I need another piece. Okay, I kind of like the way that looks. Sometimes after I finish doing all this wrapping, I get a needle and thread and I start to stitch some parts together where I want them to be. But right now I'm still wrapping, so I'm going to keep wrapping and I'll come back in a second and show you what I ended up with. Okay, so here she is. I got everything all wrapped and everything. I bent her legs so because she's going to be a sitting doll. So, and everything seems to be wrapped up pretty good. But there's a little gap like right here that I don't really like. Let me put this a little bit more here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a needle and thread. And here is another it's kind of just a way of sculpting. So you can just grab this. This is all batting, so it's all stuffing. So you can just kind of take it and give it a little tug. And again, whenever I tug on the thread, I always move up close to the thread and pull. I don't pull from back here like this because that'll break your thread every time if you're going to pull on it really tight. So I'm just going to kind of do a little needle sculpting to smooth out the top of her legs a little bit so it's the way I want it to be. And if I thought that this part right here needed to be a little bit more sculpted, there's so many things you can do with sculpting with a needle. I know some doll makers who make their dolls anatomically correct, but you could pull it in and let me see if I can do this so the camera can see it. I'm going to go up this high, then I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to pull it down this way, and that will start to shape her a little bit this way. And then pull up. And this isn't a really long needle here. This is kind of a short one. I should have used a longer one. And give this a good push. And pull that part in just a little bit more. So she has a little more shape right there in her bottom. Push it through again. There. And then I can tie that off. So, and I can sculpt a little bit more around the top of her thighs and everything and get it the way I want it to be. Keep your thread taut. Keep your batting taut. Make sure you take the time to pull. You'll like it better in the end. So all I'm doing is tying a knot right now. Okay, so I'm going to cut this. Now what I want to do, and I have a whole bunch of these pins. I really like these ones. I think I showed them to you once before. They have a really big tip right here, but the pin itself is very thin and flexible, and I don't know, I think they're just so sharp they stick wherever you put them. So they're called magic pins. I really like them. But what I'm going to do is I have this stripe, and it's a knit, and the knit goes around the stripe, which makes it kind of a fun thing to do if you're making a witch or a fairy or something like that. And what I'm going to do is I just cut a long strip like this, and I'm going to wrap it around her leg like this. And it is a knit, so you don't have to worry about it raveling, but you do want to kind of tip the fold over the edge and try and make your stripes match the best you can. And then you can stick a pin in it like this. And then we can pull and pin. And one of the fun things about dolls is that you can literally put the pin in the doll right through her body, which will hold the clothing right to her. And we're going to do that when we dress her as well. But right now I just want to cover these legs, and I'm pulling up and pulling over and getting this all pinned where I want it to be so that I can start sewing the stockings right onto her body. Okay, I'm going to attempt to show this. I don't know if I can do it with focusing and everything else, but I have got the back of her leg pinned, and I'm going to take this pin out. And then what I'm doing is I am putting my needle in sideways, kind of where I showed you how to do a ladder stitch, and putting it this way, and then tucking the fabric under as I go. I'm going to go over to this side, put my needle in, and come up over here. I got caught on a pin here, and pulling it so that the stitches are almost inside. The good news about sewing something directly onto a doll is you can kind of stick your needle way into the doll itself and pull it up so that you don't have to worry about, catching the underneath or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go down, pull up, come over here, pull that pin out, pull this way, and keep tucking it under as I go. And I think that's working. See how well that's disappearing? I'm just going to keep working until I get all the way down to the bottom of her leg here. Okay, so now what we're going to do next is we're going to put, oh, by the way, here's her with her long johns on. I think she looks pretty cute. But I'm going to turn it this way, and we're going to put her arm on here. You can see where I've pulled in the stitches and everything to sculpt her breasts, but we're going to hide that. So here's one of the hands completely done, and as I said before, I have a previous video that shows how to do hands on my channel. That's I have basically made note of some of those previous videos on how to make dolls. But anyway, let's go back. I'm going to put this right over this, and I'm going to hold it with my fingers down here and my thumb up here holding it in place. And I've already taken a small stitch. You can see my thread right here to put it up underneath there. And then I'm going to, let's get the thread up out of the way. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to hold it in place, and I'm going to do that same ladder stitch. So remember, with a ladder stitch, we do a parallel stitch this way. I got a needle in there. Pull on it, come across to here, and make a parallel stitch there. Then come across to here and make a parallel stitch, across back over here, always trying to go directly across from where I came out before, so that when I go, let's turn it this way a little bit, across, I can tug on it like this, and when you tug on it, it'll pull all those stitches to the inside and kind of smooth it out. Then I'm going to continue to sew down the side of her shoulder. Then I'm going to flip it and go up and under, kind of like this, into the underarm. And I'm going to put a stitch here and a stitch here and a stitch here, and just keep working in a circle. I don't want to get too far down her arm, because then it won't, she won't be able to lift her arm, but too far up where I'm not hiding the stitches and she doesn't have enough to hold on to there. So I'm just trying to kind of work my way through. And then I'm going back over this way. As I work my way back up to the top of her shoulder, this is not a play doll, so I don't really have to worry too much about it being really strong, but I do want to kind of smooth out the top of her shoulder. So just in case I decide to show the top of her shoulder more and not hide it underneath clothes, I kind of want the thread to be hidden, and I also want it to look like it's going down her neck and into her shoulder, and not look like there's a big old bump right there, which I've seen dolls where the top of the shoulder leaves a bump, and I don't like that. So I'm going to just go back through it again. And I'll probably keep going all the way down until I can hide it right here. Then I'm gonna put my needle through here, give it a good tug so it ties a knot. Then usually what I do is I just go into the doll and out, just any old place, it doesn't really matter where, and then I use my scissors and I cut it. So let's do both those arms, and then let's go back and do her head. Okay, let's put her head on. So this is the back of the doll, and this is the back of the head. And I have a little hole back here that we have left. You can see where I've marked everywhere trying to get the pins and everything. So we want her head to kind of go right here with the neck a little bit in, but not all the way in. So if we set it on here like this, so it's just kind of just laying back there, and I'm squishing it with my fingers and my thumb, Then when we flip it over this way, we can see whether we have her head on straight. And I don't want it, let me see if I put it this way. I don't want it to be so far down that she has no neck, but I don't want it so far up that she's got too much neck. So it's really hard to kind of figure out exactly where you want it, but I think that's about where I want it. So now I'm going to flip it around this way and hold it where I want it. And I have a needle and thread, and this part obviously is too far open, so I'm going to just kind of grab both sides and pull that a little bit closed. There. Now I'm going to put her neck on the same way I put her arm on, going sideways here and then sideways here and then sideways here. Let's turn her this way. Maybe I can put my hand just a little bit there so you can see kind of what I'm doing. I don't know, it's really hard to do this and get it on camera the way I want it to be. Let's see, so that my hand isn't in the way of the camera. Okay, so then I'm going to come across here and come across here and just do your ladder stitch back and forth and back and forth across there. So I moved the camera a little bit because I'm still trying to get a better view of what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to go in this way and in this way. Now, as I flip it around this way, I'm going to tip her neck back like this, and I'm going to go here from back here. I want to try and get way up underneath this chin. And then I'm going to tip her back again to see if I can see that she looks the way I want her to look. Let's see. This part here is going to be hidden mostly by hair, so I don't have to worry too much about it looking really beautiful, but I want to get it so she doesn't lose her head. We don't want her to lose her head. Okay, so let's pull this in a little bit more. I'm gonna move this way just a little bit. Now that I got it around this way, this is my opportunity to shape her face and sew her head in the right angle. I don't want her looking up, but I also don't want to get too close to the tip of her chin. So let's tip her this way just a little bit. There she is. She looks pretty good, huh? I like her. Okay, so now we got her together. Here she is right here. I think she came out really cute. I like her face, and I like the way her arms are on there. Her hands are and arms are a little bit big for her body, but I kind of like doing that. Sometimes it makes the doll a little bit more, I don't know, I just think they're a little bit more attractive when they're not so much to scale. She's bent, so she's sitting down, and I'm just really pleased with the way she's coming out so far. We are going to, next week, we're going to dress her and put some hair on her and make some little boots for her feet and everything. So I know that this isn't what I usually do on this channel. And if you're watching these videos for the first time, I hope you're enjoying just doing something a little bit different and making a doll. And I guarantee you next time it's going to be a lot of fun, because we're going to start dressing her and she's going to turn into a fairy. So I hope you had a good time today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.